So, GSC OU, as you'd come to expect from this channel. But, what about GSC Now, I'm not advocating that it needs a ladder or anything, or I don't even play the tier, but I want to talk about the BLs. So, in this video, I'm going to go over the sets that each BL Pokemon runs. Because I have most of them memorized. Most of them. BLs are much rarer seen. Arrow, traditional set, is stuff like Curse, Reflect, Whirlwind, Rock Move, or like Curse, Reflect, Rest, Rock Move, not Rock Move, like HP Rock is HP Flying, Ancient Power. It's just like, it's the only thing other than Skarmory that is immune to ground and resists normal. But it's not a particularly great Snorlax check, because you really need Reflect and Curse. But some stall teams use it. I don't like it in that role. I think the only thing Arrow should be used for is Baton Pass shenanigans. Because, Baton Pass shenanigans. Because Belly drummed up Arrow, its hidden power rocks and earthquakes are pretty just tearing through everything. Yeah, it doesn't get rock slide with that really high speed, so it's a recipient of a Belly drum pass on some teams. Not a really good mon. Alakazam. This thing's actually pretty decent. Viability rankings have it placed pretty high for a BL. And basically it can run a myriad of sets, usually with Dynamic Punch. We've seen some exploration away from Dynamic Punch recently. Like how we see, we saw, so basically the traditional set is Psychic, Thunder Punch, or Fire Punch, Encore or Recover, Dynamic Punch. The Fire and Thunder Punch, like Fire Punches for Skarm and Licks, and Thunder Punches for Skarm and Starmie. Licks is Steelix. And the Dynamic Punches for Tyranitar and kinda Lax, but like it's the biggest part of it is for Tyranitar. Zam like outspeeds most things, pretty much everything, and has a really brutally powerful Psychic. Although Umbreon is usually the better Psychic clicker, just because it doesn't get trapped by Tyranitar if it has Baton Pass, and its Psychic's harder because it can boost. But Alakazam still has a really strong Psychic. It can also run Psychic, Fire Punch, or Thunder Punch, but I think Fire Punch on the set is much better. Psychic, Fire Punch, Encore, Recover, and that means Alakazam is no longer trapped by Tyranitar, because you click Fire Punch. So you say Eggy Booms on Zapdos, you send out Zam, they send out Tyranitar. You click Fire Punch, and if he clicks Pursuit, you click Pursuit. Where he clicks Pursuit, let's pull calc. This is the theory behind the set. So we're not looking at Dynamic Punch, we are looking at Encore. So Fire Punch does nothing, sure. And Rock Slide probably 2-hit KOs you. But here's the thing. If he clicks Pursuit, you Encore it into Pursuit, and then you Recover Spam. Because Pursuit's not doing too much. If he clicks Rock Slide, you Recover Spam until he misses, so then you're at full HP, and then you Encore it, so that he has to keep Rock Sliding you, and then you can switch out and avoid the trap. Yeah. And if he Pursuits, you can also Fire Punch Burn Fish on him. And if it curses, you just Encore and then Fire Punch, Burn Fish, or Switch. That's how the Zam can escape the trap of Pursuit Tyranitar. Does not work against Houndoom. Like, you're screwed when you see a Houndoom on the other side. You better hope your Dynamic Punch misses. Sure, Pursuit is doing marginally more, but it's more so that you can't even like really do anything. And Fire Punch is actually doing more than Houndoom, funny enough. But Houndoom will eventually, like, it can bust you down more. Like, if you Encore on Crunch, you don't get a recover, spam that off because it never misses. And it can just drop you. Oh, I knew that's tempting. So Articuno. Articuno is a Suicune replacement on some stall teams. It's just like a blanket special wall. Suicune is better in nearly every regard, except taking spikes. So, like, some do-nothing stall teams like Articuno for another spikes immunity. But it's generally pretty outclassed by everything. Like, Suicune's already struggling, so Articuno doesn't really have a place in the metagame right now, however much that saddens me. But it runs Ice Beam, Toxic, Rest, Sleep Talk, or Ice Beam, Roar, Rest, Toxic. Maybe maybe one of the screens, because I don't remember which one it gets. But Articuno's like less viable than Arrow. But Shazam is the most of the ones we've seen so far. Charizard's also pretty dang viable. Can do 2 sets. Usually this is the better one. Rock Slide. EQ, Fire Blast. Belly Drum. You're fast. Once the Belly Drum comes, like, you threaten out the steals with Minoko. Fire Blast. Because remember, Belly Drum does not boost Fire Punch in this generation. Yeah, you Fire Blast to the steals to Oblivion, and then you can Belly Drum, Speed Tie with Zapdos. So you're really fast. It doesn't love Raikou. Pretty frail, but it does find opportunities to get Belly Drum off. You can also do Pink Bow Hyper Beam instead of Rock Slide. Pink Bow, just, it's like a silk scarf kind of. And that just, +6 Hyper Beam is essentially an explosion. Because you're going to die afterwards because of the recharge time. But you can use it to nuke a Snorlax, or like an Acid Armored Vaporeon. Actually, I'm going to calc that. Charizard. We're going to go Pink Bow. We're going to go Hyper Beam. +6. Ha, that's a really funny number. Kills Alakazam so many times over. Snorlax. Yeah, so you don't even... So you do need Pink Bow, by the way. Because, like, 35% chance to OHKO without Pink Bow. 92% chance to OHKO with Pink Bow. A full health Snorlax without spikes up. And then, like, stuff like Suicune, you do need chip for. Like, spikes. So it tries to switch in on you. Then you nuke it, because it's like lefties. If it has had a round of lefties, then you're still having a high % chance to OHKO. But you do need Pink Bow. So you try and get a couple rounds, like at least 1 or 2, at least 2 rounds of spikes on Suicune. Vappy, you do just kill, but like you can use it to finish off a... See, like, if it's a Acid Arbor Vaporeon, you can probably get the kill with EQ into Hyper Beam. So that's what Hyper Beam Charizard does. It just nukes something. Next up we have Clefable. This thing has a myriad of sets. It's almost all. It should always be a belly drummer. BD can be body slam, double edge, but I think return is probably the best one because belly drum return gets the best KO thresholds if you're stabbed on return. Doesn't matter what attack stat you have. Snorlax. See how it is a 20% chance to OHKO, but a very high percent chance to OHKO after spikes. Body slam doesn't get anywhere near that stuff. Snorlax is probably the most important damage roll for it. Zapdos is another one. Body slam, 10% chance to kill. Return always kills. This is HP Water Bulk. So body slam, without spikes, 50% chance to OHKO. Return just kills. So that's why I prefer return. It gets different KL thresholds. But body slam is also usable. Then you can go like Moonlight, Fire Blast, Encore, Moonlight. Okay, Moonlight is fine. You can also use Frustration instead of return, though I think Clefable is more of a return mon. Thunder is feasible because it hits Skarmory similarly hard. Fire Blast and hits Cloyster. Maybe Thunder Wave if you really want it. But, this is the traditional stuff. I think you use this with Pursuit Support, almost always. It's Clefable. If it's on Belly Drum teams, like the teams that can fit a Belly Drummer, which are some Baton Pass teams, Clefable is not the preferred Belly Drummer by far, or stall teams. Stall teams are where Belly Drummers fit best. This one is probably a Tyranitar stall team, because you need Pursuit Support. Then next up is, this is what we can do a little faster. Donphan, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. It does like curse rapid spin stuff. Honestly, I've never seen it in a serious game. Like, never. Articuno has been brought to like some tournament games, very few. Like an Earthworm, Do Nothing stall team has it. But no, this is not a good mod. It's like EQ, curse, roar stuff. Rapid spin is its biggest claim to fame. Encore's nice. But yeah, rapid spin, EQ, curse stuff. I don't think it's worth using, but I could be wrong. Dragonite. It's a T-Waver. It's one of the few mons that get Thunder Wave. And it can be a mixed attacker. You can do like hidden power flying stuff. But usually Dynamic Punch, Thunder, Ice Beam. This is the traditional set. This is actually a pretty good set. Dragonite's up there with you can use this in a tournament. This is a viable mon with Alakazam and Clefable and Charizard. Alakazam is considered the best of all those though, and then Charizard. And then I think Dragonite, Clefable. People have a really low opinion of Clefable. But Dragonite also has this other set. This only fits on Do Nothing stall teams. Because this set does nothing. Rest, Sleep Talk, Haze. What's the other move again? Isn't it like Light Screen or Reflect? I always forget. I think it's Reflect. Smoke Analysis has all of these, except some of them aren't on there. Like the Fire Punch Encore Recover one. Yeah, I was right. Oh, it can be Dragon Breath too, to paralyze stuff. This set does nothing, but it eternally walls physical attackers. Only fits on hardcore stall teams. Entei, Sunny Beam user. Sunny Day, HP Fighting for Tyranitar, Solar Beam, Fire Blast. It's as fast as Zapdos. It's not weak to Electric, which is nice as a Sunny Day user. It's pretty weak compared to the other Sunny Day users, but it certainly gets the job done. HP Fighting. Yeah, it does chunks Tyranitar with HP Fighting, keeps up Sunny Days. Usually a secondary, or it's usually the secondary Sunny Day user. So like Entei Moltres. Or on the one Sun Spam team, it's Entei Moltres, Houndoom. Houndoom can also do Sunny Day stuff. But that's what this thing does. It's decent. You probably... Like, it's usable as a solo Sunny Day user if your team is, like, kind of weak to Zapdos. And you don't want to use Moltres, but Moltres is the better Sunny Day user. Just because Entei just doesn't hit the damage thresholds that Moltres does and Houndoom do. Espeon. Can do 2 sets. But they both have growth. Growth, Psychic. And then either BP, like, +1, like, sub. BP sub. Morning Sun. This is my preferred Espeon set. HP Water for Steelix and Tar. HP Fire for Steelix and Skarmory. I think either you should be Hidden Power Water or Baton Pass always, because Tyranitar. Because BP, you can escape his trap. Pretty powerful special attacker. Like, +1 Psychics rip through the tier. Oh, Hidden Power Fire is also good for Eggy, but I think the best Espeon set is this one. It's the most consistent overall. You pass out to a Zapdos and it's just murdering things, even with just +1. And you do work on your own, and then you can stay healthy with Morning Sun. Don't love getting Para, though. An Untimely Body Slam Para is kind of the death of you. Espeon's up there with the viable ones. It's more viable than Entei and Dragonite and Zard. Well, it's about the same as Zard. I like Espeon though more. Alakazam is usually rated higher. Houndoom, I love this mon. It should always be Miracle Berry if you're running Pursuit. Well, no. You can run Pursuit on Sunny Day. It's either Sunny Day stuff or Miracle Berry stuff. Miracle Berry, Trapper stuff. It's got the strongest Pursuit in the tier. So it's Pursuit, Crunch, Fire Blast. Don't use Flamethrower. Trust me, just don't. You don't get the damage rolls that you really want. Like, Fire Blast is like, I think Nidoking, it gets 2 KO'd. Houndoom. Nidoking. Yeah. It's for Nidoking after Spikes. Is another reason, one of the reasons for Fire Blast. Last move can be Roar, can be Counter, can be Thief. I like Thief the most, but Counter's fine. Can also be Leftovers, but I like Miracle Berry because you're switching into Jinx and Eggy to trap them, and you don't want to get slept. And that synergizes with Thief. You're never using Leftovers Thief. Can also be Sunny Day stuff. Sunny Day, Solar Beam. Stuff like this. It's a stronger, slower version of Entei that has Pursuit. Solar Beam hits Starmie the exact same as Crunch does. That's Houndoom. Where is Jolteon? Jolteon is usually Baton Pass stuff. Can be Paralysis Cure, can be Miracle Berry, usually Leftovers. Can be Growth Pass, BP, Sub, Thunder, Thunderbolt, HP Water in the last slot. Can just be Agility Pass. Can be Standalone Growther. Growth, Thunder, like Electric move can be Thunderbolt 2, HP Ice or Water, and then Rest. This fits on some stall teams as Electric Wall. It doesn't love switching into Thunder with Spikes down. Like, it can get forced to rest pretty easily, but without Spikes, it's a decent switch into Zapdos Thunder. And has potential to sweep late game. Thunderbolt if you want reliability. But mostly, it's seen on Baton Pass teams, where it's passing agilities to Marowak. Jolteon's very viable. It's kind of just overshadowed by the other electrics, though. And there's not a lot of teams that run Jolteon over one of the electrics, unless it's the certain type of stall team I was talking about, or Baton Pass. Usually Jolteon's seen alongside an electric, but it still can replace them. Kangaskhan is a normal type cursor. We're going to see a lot of them. It's bulky. It's bulkier than Ursaring. It gets double edge, which Ursaring doesn't. Can be a return or body slam though. Curse, roar, rest. This is one that doesn't EQ. It gets EQ. You can do that too. You can do that. It's you're gonna see a lot of normal types that have curse, like the curse, roar, normal types. Sometimes they don't roar, but they're all really cookie cutter. Kangaskhan is the bulkiest of them, and it's kind of weak compared to Ursaring, but Ursaring doesn't get double edge, so like Kangaskhan versus Snorlax. Why is it running return? Double edge. 31, and then taking 38, taking 45, doing 31. Ursaring is doing 32 and taking 50. And then against Zapdos is another good calc. Ursaring is doing 38 and taking 55. Kanga is taking 50, so 5% less, but that means you're not necessarily getting, it's less chance of 2-hit KO. Actually, it's just never 2-hit KOing. Double edge recoil can throw a wrench in that, but you're doing 36. You're just a more bulky one. And you're similarly strong. Kingdra. Kingdra's seen a massive spike in viability recently. I don't know the best Kingdra set. I should explore it. I think it's just, but I think it's like Surf, Ice Beam. It just fishes for Ice Beam is what I know it does. There. That. You can also do Dragon Breath stuff. I think this Mon is not the best at Dragon Breathing. I think Steelix does it better. But I think if you're using Kingdra, because it's like kind of hard to force out, you should be you should be freeze fishing with Kingdra. Lapras doesn't really do anything. I'm gonna be real with you. It's just don't use it. There's not a concise reason. I've looked. There's not a concise reason to use Lapras. Like, I don't even think it's ranked on the viability rankings. Don't use Lapras. There's not really sets for it. I mean, you could cobble something together, probably like Bolt Beam, Body Slam, Confuse Ray or something. The rest, Sleep Talk. Maybe you Ice Beam Fish. But I think Keen does that better because it's not weak to electric. Even though it's less bulky. Meganium, 2 sets. The bad one, the better-ish one. This is the better-ish one. HP Rock or Giga Drain. It's your choice. Not Sleep Powder, SD +1. You don't get Sleep Powder, right? Yeah. EQ. Maybe it is HP Rock. I get the SD Grassers confused sometimes. There's so many of them. Yeah. Oh, Synthesis is what I'm missing. Yeah. Synthesis. All the SD Grasses are completely and utterly walled by Skarmory. You're just a bulky, physical SDer. You love facing Hidden Power Water Electrics. That's what this one does. It just clicks SD, clicks Body Slam a couple times, and Synthesis doesn't do a ton of damage. The calcs are really depressing. Check them out yourself with +2 on like lax and stuff. But it can also run. This is the bad set. Leech, Reflect, Razor Leaf. Is it Rest or Synthesis last? Yes, I am kind of taking these straight from Smogon Analysis, except most of these I have memorized. Don't use this set. It doesn't do any damage, because Leech Seed doesn't do damage on the same turn unless they're slower than you. Don't use better DVs than this. But, you just don't do damage, and they can just switch to all of your moves. because you could just switch to all Leech Seed. Moltres. This mod runs Charcoal, Fire Blast, Sunny Day, Rest, Sleep Talk. This mod 2-hit KO Snorlax with Fire Blast in Sun with Spikes down. If you have Charcoal, which is kind of nutty. Fire Blast just murders things. It stings, resists with like 30 to 40%. And it's Sunny Day user, so once Sunny Day up, Thunder only has a 50% chance to hit you, and you live 1. So you can kind of play the odds against Electric sometimes, and your Fire Blasts are melting them. That's what Moltres does. It's one of the most viable UUBLs. It's like up there with Alakazam and Espeon, if not higher. Muck does a couple things you should already know, because I made 2 quick builds on this thing. Giga Drain or Curse. Then Sludge Bomb, Explosion, Fire Blast. Mixed attacker. Just kind of rips stuff up. Doesn't like the Steelix, doesn't like the Tyrannitars of the world. Just really doesn't like Tyranitar. Or Gengar. No matter what set you're using. But it is rather viable. Yeah. It's pretty viable. I'd say you can definitely use it. Don't use Thunder. Don't use Thunder. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's definitely below, like, Espeon. And I think it's a little above Clefable. If I remember my viability rankings right. Porygon 2. It's got 2 sets. The Thunder Wave. Take your choice of any special move. Usually Ice Beam. Double Edge or Return. And Recover. You just click T-Wave on things and then keep recovering. You don't love being paralyzed, but you can take the status pretty effectively as long as it don't sleep. You paralyze things for a teammate that loves T-Wave support. Or you are Return, Recover, Curse, Ice Beam, or Thunderbolt. And you're just a cursor that has Recover. So you don't need to ever rest off damage, and you 32 PB recover, which is nice, but your attack is pretty middling, and you don't have the coverage that some of the other ones do, so maybe Hidden Power Water is worth looking into. I would not use Hidden Power Fire. Ice Beam is just a good neutral, hits pretty much everything, and you can freeze fish. So it's like a secondary curse, normal type for a team. Again, it's one of the myriad of cursed normal types you're going to see, except Porygon 2's defining thing is it has Recover instead of Rest. Scizor. Baton Pass Shenanigans. You can BP, BPSD, Agility, HP Bug, or Steel Wing. It's probably HP Bug is better. HP Ground is an option, or like Baton Pass, that's really, or Sub. It's just a Baton Pass poke that BP's Agility and SD, usually to Marowak or Snorlax. Only usable on Baton Pass teams. But sees pretty heavy usage on them. Smeargle, I am not going over this thing. Sorry. I'll make a separate video on it, but I do not want to go over Smeargle. Tauros. I hear a lot of flack being hurled at this mon, like, consistently, and I disagree. This mon's pretty good. Traditional set is Double Edge, EQ, Rest, Sleep Talk, and I agree, this set is awful. Don't use it. I don't like this set. You're just blanked by, you just don't do enough most of the time, and you're completely useless against Stall. And, like, you're not doing too much with Steelix. Like, you kind of get worn down, and just, like, it's pretty nice against the offense. I agree. But, like, it's such a non-mon in some matchups. And it just doesn't feel like it does enough. This is the set I think people should be using. Surf Thunder or Surf Fire Blast. Surf does about 60 to, I think Surf into EQ into Surf kills Golem. Surf chunks Steelix. Fire Blast is better for that. Fire Blast hits Skarmory. So does Thunder. But the real reason for Thunder is you can massacre a Cloyster. Yeah, so what? Base 40 special attack. But this mixed attacker is hitting... the only time it's clicking a special move is to surprise someone and get a super effective hit. And I think this Tauros is so good because it lures stuff. Steelix. Yeah, see, Earthquake is pitiful. Like, that's depressing into Steelix. Like, in a Golem, you're not doing too much. And then, like, Zapdos, it just kind of beats you down. Like, it's fine and all, but, like, you don't do anything into stall teams. But let's go back to Golem. Now let's look at Surf. EQ to Surf just kills. Most of the time. Like a very high percent of the time. Usually Golem switching into Spikes. So, yeah, it's a 2 KO Surf, but like, yeah, so you're at 77. Yeah, high chance to OHKO after Spikes. And that's if you get a minimum EQ roll. In Golem, it's not hard to force a little bit of chip damage on that thing. Maybe double a GQ Surf, like, that's an option. And then the reason why I Thunder, like, sure, into Steelix, you'd want Fire Blast. Because Surf barely out damages EQ. And so that is a fair point for Fire Blast. But the real cooker is, like, EQ and Surf are doing still a decent amount to Steelix, and it's not hard to get rid of Steelix, because you just have a Zapdos with Hidden Power Water, and then Steelix kind of cries. Or booms. But the real kicker is, Cloyster. See, you're completely walled by Cloyster. Like, you give up spikes to it every day of the week, and it just does whatever it wants to you. This applies to the Restock set too, unless you slap on Thunder. And now you're scaring that thing out with a guaranteed 2-hit KO. Yeah, it's pretty great. So you just force a lot of damage. People, like, they scramble to switch around your set, and then you do a bunch of damage, and then you're fast, so you can do a late game cleaning stuff. I think it's pretty good. I think Espeon is markedly better. I think Houndoom is better. Jolteon's better. I think it's around the same viability as, like, Entei. Tentacruel, you should already know this. I've done, like, several quick builds on Tentacruel. Sub, SD, Water Move, Sludge Bomb. That's it. Don't use Rapid Spin Tentacruel. Just use Starmie instead. Sure, being immune to Toxic is nice. Just click a Heal Beller on your team. Don't use Rapid Spin Tentacruel. I don't like Rapid Spin Tentacruel at all. Typhlosion. It's a worse Entei. Yeah, it's a little stronger, but you don't get Solar Beam. You just don't get Solar Beam, and your attack is worse, so you can't Hidden Power fighting Tyranitar as much. Don't use Typhlosion. Ursaring. Oh, Charizard can also do Sunny Day stuff, but it shouldn't. Entei does it better. Or Aeromoltres. It's like a weird middle ground because it's faster, but it still doesn't outspeed Zapdos. So, I like Entei better than Charizard for Sunny Day. Ursaring, we already talked about this one. Normal type Cursor. But this time it doesn't get Double Edge. Return, EQ, or Curse. Or Rest. Or Sleep Talk. You take a ton from Electrics, but you're the most... You do the most damage out of any of the normal type cursors by far. Oh, finally, the last one is Venusaur. 2 sets. Same with the Leech Seed Meganium. I think that one is just intolerably bad. But this is so there's 2 good Venusaur sets. Sleep Powder, Body Slam, Giga Drain, or HP Rock. SD. You're like a Meganium, except you have Sleep Powder. And, yeah. And you're bulky. You're just Yeah, you should take a Meganium so you have Sleep Powder instead of Synthesis. Or, this is probably the best Venusaur set, at least in some top players' opinions. Growth, Giga Drain, HP Ice. I haven't done a quick build with this, I don't think, yet. But I'll probably use it eventually. You growth up, you can hidden power ice the flying types and Giga Drain other stuff and heal up. Yeah. And you sleep powder something. Just a good mon to force damage and progress and sleep something. That is the UUBL tier. And I'm not going into the other mons that are usable right now. That's for another day. But that's pretty much all the sets from UUBL. Some have a few more mix and match options, but I don't think any set compendium video should be fully comprehensive, because it can't be.